Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've made a video. Probably almost a year now, I want to say. I don't know, I've lost track. I know I've mostly been doing community posts. So, um, so yeah, I recently just moved also, so I'm actually in a new house right now. So, it's alright, I'm doing okay. So, but yeah, um, I just wanted to talk a little bit, you know, see how everybody's doing. Um, Gosh. I guess you could say the world's just kind of affecting me right now, you know. Uh, Kind of been on my mind, you know. And I know this message might be kind of offensive to a lot of people, but whether it makes you offended or not, the truth is the truth. Um, we live in such, and I'm not saying we shouldn't rebuke people. See, this is what I've noticed. There is a difference between rebuking somebody and condemning somebody. Nowadays, people think rebuke means to condemn somebody, saying, "Oh, you're unforgivable. You're going to go to hell." It's like you deserve hell when they don't realize that they themselves deserve hell just as much as that person. And why can't they see that? Because that's the thing. They don't see it. Why? And, I wrote about this in my community post too when I was answering a question or something somebody was writing. We live in such a prideful, moralistic society. I'm not saying morals are bad, but the problem is it's mixed with pride. You know, we live in such a moralistic, prideful society that people think just because they're not a child molester or a rapist or a murderer that somehow makes them, you know, better. Because we live in a society where people say, oh, I'm not perfect, but at least I try, you know, as if that's, and then they think that applies to Christianity, which it doesn't. God says none are good. So all these people think they're better, and they're condemning somebody to hell, and they don't believe the gospel. They don't believe that, you know, someone who they deem as so bad and unredeemable and unforgivable can actually believe the gospel and be a child of God and go to heaven. They don't realize that they're the ones that are actually going to be burning in hell because of their self-righteousness and their pridefulness, because society has coddled them so much to the point where, you know, they think, "Oh, I'm the victim, so I'm better. I'm not that bad." So, and that's the problem with society. Society belittles bad behavior. They only pay attention when, you know, it's serious to them. If you get what I mean, we all know when God's justice is based, and his judgment is based on perfection. So while all these people think, I'm good enough, I'm a good enough Christian because I don't do X, Y, and Z, they don't realize that they're the ones that are actually going to be judged and condemned, while their rapist and their child molester or, whatever, their murderer is actually going to be the one going to heaven because they realized they were a sinner and believed on the finished work of Jesus Christ. It's like they knew. Why do you think they believed? Because they knew they were bad people. The people that are always treated as victims are the ones that think they are good people. And again, I'm not justifying rape or murder or anything, being a child molester. I'm just saying when it comes to the gospel and when it comes to God's perfection and you trying to measure yourself up to other people's wrongdoings, you are no better. You, and you can get mad all you want, you know. again, that's, I'm going with what the gospel says, what God says, not what society has told you, you know? So, and they don't realize that the flesh that they're glorying in so much is actually going to be burnt. you know, your flesh is going to be burnt in hell. You want to talk about how you have good morals and all that. So what? The flesh is good at one point and then the flesh is bad. It can switch off. But their thing is like, oh, all I did was steal something when I was a child, or all I've done is, and when you bring up the fact that, oh, have you ever looked at a woman with lust? They'll say, oh, well, that's not that bad. Why? Because society has told them that it's not that bad. And they'll say, well, that person's willingly, consensually putting themselves out there, doing porno and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but you choose to watch them. You're still, it's like, you're still objectifying them. So that's the thing. It's just society is deceived, and there's so much pride, and I think that's what that because that's how Satan. That's why Satan was thrown out of heaven, because of his pride. And I'm not saying Christians can't be prideful. We can all be prideful, even believers, but I'm talking about a certain type of pride. The pride that blinds you, you know, from the truth. And people who've never believed the truth because they don't want to. Because basically they're saying they don't need God. They're good enough. you know, Society has told them that they're good enough. Mommy and daddy told them that they're good enough, that they're a good boy and a good girl or whatever, so they're going to believe them, you know. Anyways, I'll be honest, it is something that kind of pisses me off, though, as a Christian. It's like, they don't realize. They don't realize. And they want to use science and philosophy as an excuse, to hide the fact that they've done bad things, that they're not perfect themselves, because they want to use that to shield the fact that there really is a God. That's why there's so many atheists in the world, because atheists, like I said, I don't really believe in atheism, but I believe atheists are probably the biggest hypocrites. And of course, the people who, the religious world, people who justify their works, because even atheists justify their works. They just don't want to justify them to God. They want to please man. People want so desperately to be approved by society that they don't realize that once they mess up, once they do something big enough to where society deems it unforgivable, irredeemable, so moralistically wrong, that society doesn't give a shit about them. The only one that actually does give a shit about them is Jesus Christ. The only one that cares about them, that forgives them and, you know, accepts them, is Jesus Christ. That's how blind they are. They want so desperately to please man. So, Anyways, it's just something that's been kind of on my mind, you know. Like I said, I believe there is a time and a place to rebuke people for their wrongdoings. But like I said, we've people, I've gotten into arguments with pastor and they say, well, Paul rebuked people, blah, 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 as if you can't call people out on their wrongdoing. No, you can. Just don't think that you're better, It's like, you're not a Christian because you're doing that, because that's what they say. So if you're saying that, then automatically you think you're better. You think you're going to boast in your works, the little bit of works that you did or whatever, you know? So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that really quick. And I know this is probably going to be offensive to some people, but if you're a Christian, then you know what I'm telling you is the truth, So, you know. Anyways, I'm probably going to relax because I gotta go to. Yeah, I'm busy tomorrow. So, all right. Hope you guys are having a good night. Bye.